Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we will be speaking with the team from Guardians of Kadena. This conversation was recorded on June 7th, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to follow and subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we have joining us Guardians of Kadena. They are a new NFT series with some awesome looking NFTs, and I'm excited to learn more about them. So why don't we just start off with a little introduction about yourselves and what Guardians are all about. Take it away.
Hey, thanks a lot. I always appreciate your AMAs and your input in the community. Right now, all we have on right now is me. So that's not Guardians plural. It's just Guardian right now. Scott, the artist, is actually having some technical difficulties, and hopefully he'll join us. But I'm happy to represent us. Some of you might know me as curator. My real name's Curtis, but I do a lot of work with swarms and working with Scott and Guardians. So I'm happy to give you all the information that you need.
Thank you very much, Curtis, for joining us. It's great to hear that you're starting yet another great project, because you've been involved in some of the really awesome projects that are in the Kadena ecosystem, and you're fairly well known in the community. So really excited to learn more about this next wave of things that you're working on. So what was the inspiration behind Guardians, and why you felt that you needed to start this new NFT series and, protect the Kadena ecosystem, as you can kind of say?
Well, that's a great question. Actually, Scott and I met back in 2016 at a competition called Living Art America. At the time, I used to run a tie-dye t-shirt business and was doing face painting and things like that at a festival, and Scott kind of discovered me and my wife Jill, and recommended that we enter his competition. At the time, I didn't know this, but he was the 5-time world body painting champion and started a national body painting competition called Living Art America. And me and my wife competed, and we did pretty good. We ranked a little bit here and there, and around the same time, I discovered crypto and started getting Scott involved. And I've been trying to get Scott involved for years. And he is involved a lot in the investing side, but his artwork is just amazing. And I've been trying to get him to, get into the NFC side of the business, and, especially on Kadena. And, one of the things, of course, that we've all ran across, Kadena being a fairly young blockchain, is all of the scams and rug pulls and different things that have happened. And it seems like we're starting to really get on some solid footing. And of course, I think, Squeegee, Amir, and Cam, and Morgan at Swarms, because that was kind of the whole inspiration behind that. The inspiration behind this is the same thing. It's just done from a different angle. So what we're doing is we are creating a token gated DAO. So a little bit more on that. Guardians of Kadena versus 50 individually unique NFTs. And it kind of memorializes the people that we feel have been the most influential personalities in the Kadena ecosystem. And of course, if any of you here have any recommendations, we definitely want to get the input of the community on that. Do you have any recommendations?
Well, I can see, looking just at the chat, that one of the people I would maybe recommend would be Matthew there from Kadena Mining Club. I see that they're listening in. I could also probably recommend maybe my fearless leader, Kobe Lazar. He's fairly decent in the space, and I don't know, I'll throw my own hat in there while we're at it.
Yeah, those are definitely some good recommendations. And we've only released 5, and so we've got another 45 to go. And of course, we create stories, superhero stories around those people, and hopefully we're doing them some justice. But yeah, we'll be auctioning off about 5 a week, and it's going to be old school bidding style on Amir's platform, which is, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right because I know how it's spelled, but I've never heard him say it. I think it's like Kadena AI or Kadena, and what they would be purchasing really would be, of course, the NFT, but get you community access to a token gated DAO on Swarm's finances. And I don't know, maybe you know this. I think it would probably be the first of its kind.
Yeah, I can't think of any other kind of token gated DAOs. There isn't really any DAOs on Kadena yet, just mostly because if there are, they're just kind of community DAOs that are run in like Discords and things like that. Since there's not too many ways to actually run a DAO on Kadena right now, specifically, unless you're a developer yourself and do all of that stuff in the back end. But with Swarms coming out with their platform, which you guys have been working really hard on, I'm assuming a lot of DAOs are going to be coming out and blowing up, and a lot of those communities now that are probably using a Discord type DAO or something else are probably going to move to a more on-chain decentralized version that is definitely a lot more gated and can't be gamed or manipulated as much as you can with some other like regular voting DAOs that they do on, for example, Discord servers and stuff like that. But this is the first I've heard of something like that. So these NFTs that people are going to be buying is going to be their key into this DAO, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the other thing that we hope to do through this is really kind of highlight a lot of the features of Swarms, right? So when a Guardian is purchased through the Kadena AI platform, a percentage of that sale will actually go into a Swarm's vault to give the business some starting capital. And what the business is intended to do, of course, is create trust in the Kadena ecosystem. But the way that we're trying to position this is that, so of course, if we were to sell 50 at one time, absorbing 50 people into a DAO like immediately is kind of going to be a logistical nightmare. And so the idea of doing 5 a week, I think really works to our advantage. And the idea behind what the Guardians would do is, as a new project comes into the Echo, all 50 members, once they're all established, basically review the project. Of course, there'll be a process behind the evaluation, vote on whatever proposed outcome there'll be, but basically give it a risk rating or a risk reward rating, and get that information out into the Kadena ecosystem. So people really kind of know what they're getting into when they decide to, get behind a project. Because I can't tell you how many I've seen that have legitimately really done dirty and kind of took off, and I think that's kind of the sentiment on a lot of different blockchains. I remember seeing it on Ethereum when I started out there, and I'm sure it still happens. But we've seen our share of that here in the Kadena community.
Yeah, that's something that we've wrestled with at Kadena Ecosystem is the vetting of projects. We've tried to stay kind of a neutral in the sense of like everyone's kind of welcome to be showcased on our platform, on our website and stuff. But at the same time, I do go through some basic checks. I check their socials. If they're an NFT project, I'll do Google image searches to see if their art comes up anywhere else or things like that. So, but having somewhere where a bunch of community members can get together and do a thorough kind of investigation into a project and give it a rating is something I feel like is going to be very valuable to the entire community as a whole. We've wrestled with just having like voting systems, like kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of voting system on our website, but that could be easily manipulated. They could, pay people to go vote or do whatever kind of things. So it's hard to find a way to make it so that it can't be manipulated. But this seems like the perfect way to do that, where, unless you have one of these NFTs and are part of the DAO, that you can't really manipulate the data in any other way. So definitely something that I feel is going to be very useful and something that hopefully maybe we might even take a little inspiration from and make up our own kind of DAO for Kadena Ecosystem, doing somewhat of the same kind of thing, but maybe something just a little bit different. But the possibilities are really endless once the platforms open up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing about DAOs, and this is something obviously that I've learned through working with Swarms, and Carl and Amir and everybody is, the really, you just have to build the foundation of the DAO. Once you get your members and everybody figures out what they're doing and they get their roles, everybody comes in and they build the house together, right? So you might not have a particular direction as soon as you start, but once everybody gets in there and there's discussion and ideas, everybody gets to decide collaboratively which way they want to go. And that's what happened. That's how Swarms came about. Swarms was a very organic project, and we want to help foster other organic projects. And this is one of them, right? So Scott, like I said, he's heavily involved in crypto. He's heavily involved in art. And this is kind of the marriage of those two things. But there's a lot more features that we're looking to implement. Scott's got his hand in a lot of web design, so you'll see some really cool stuff on there. One of the things that we're going to do for the Guardians also is provide like a Kadena classifieds, where members of the Guardians can advertise their goods and services to the Kadena ecosystem. So let's say we get a couple developers, or Scott wants to, advertise his services for other NFT projects, or maybe like myself, I do B2B and consulting. Maybe I'll put some stuff on there, but basically kind of a board that and you get the blast of 50 members going out there into the socials. So that's another thing that we're kind of working on.
Now let's talk a little bit about the art of these Guardians. I've absolutely, the first one I saw, I was like, okay, these are kind of another level when it comes to art on the Kadena NFT space. What is the inspiration behind that? And can you tell us a little bit about Scott? It's unfortunate he's not able to join us. Hopefully we can do this again and have Scott on one of these calls. But maybe if you want to just kind of go over a little bit about Scott's history and the inspiration behind this amazing artwork you guys are producing.
Sure. Yeah. So Scott has been in art and design for, over 30 years. Like I said, that most of the knowledge that I have about Scott is in the body painting world. He's known internationally. He's won local, national, and world competitions. He's the only 5-time world body painting champion. He's and again, he designs websites, so he's been doing a lot of digital art too. As far as the inspiration goes behind it, we initially talked about, bringing body painting to Kadena, and that's still a real possibility. Scott and myself, we know a lot of people in the body art world, and that could definitely bring some community into Kadena, some new artists, some new faces, and some new people in the Echo. But Scott has always had this kind of affinity to really have a creative story behind everything too. So the Guardians just kind of came naturally with him. He's like, well, why don't we do the superhero thing first and see how it goes? And because after I explained Kadena to him and kind of the stage that the blockchain was kind of going through right now, he was like, well, they need a superhero group. And I was like, hey, that sounds awesome. So, he kind of showed me some mock-ups and started sending to me through Twitter. And, next thing you know, we started putting things together, and here we are.
Yeah, I love the whole superhero theme, but like the art itself, is he drawing these, or are they kind of an AI generated kind of thing? Because they are absolutely spectacular looking, I have to say, and very on theme for very kind of like an Iron Man almost kind of theme when you want to think of a superhero that it kind of looks like. It's like a person, kind of robotic kind of person almost. Was that something that like you guys, started off with, a couple of different iterations of what you could do and kind of settled on this like cyborgish kind of art?
Yeah, pretty much. So, just some disclosure, there is some AI. What I'll tell you is he did go through a multitude of different filters. He also has pictures and drawings that he will upload and kind of tweak them with AI, and then he'll go back over it with I forget I guess Photoshop, and just kind of touch it up and move logos in and do all that. So there is some AI in there. As far as how much of that is AI, I couldn't tell you. I've never seen him actually do it. But I can tell you that you can give him the likeliness of a person, and he can make it look pretty darn close. And then go in and do all the right things. So, it definitely is. I would say it's probably, 70-80% original. I think that it's, he is just an amazing artist, and I wish he was here to explain the process, because I'm probably getting it completely wrong. But I do know that these aren't quick mock-up AI generated images. These images take quite a while to produce.
Yeah, they are definitely top notch, as I said. And the ones that you've released so far, if you guys haven't seen them already, you can click on their Twitter here and just click on the media of their Twitter feed and go through the pictures. And they are absolutely amazing. They're based, so far you have ones based on Amir, of course, who is the amazing guy behind the Kadena AI and also working with you guys at Swarms. And then you also have Emily Pillmore, who most of you guys know as the Pact Queen, who is behind who is the head of the Pact development team. We also have Will Martino, who of course is one of the co-founders, and we have Thanos, who is one of the kind of known devs around the community, and also the creator of the Anna deck and the Babena Finance. So definitely something. Definitely a good group of community members to start out with. Where's how come there's no Curtis one? You should have one for yourself at least.
Oh, I think this, maybe if the Guardians get together and decide to make another batch of it, I would definitely do that. But I'm not one for a whole lot of self promotion. You've probably told you this before, but I'm a miner, and that's kind of how I got into all this. And when things started going south with Kadena, with the price and everything, of course, that was concerning to me, and I wanted to actually get into the community and try to grow the community from the inside out. And so that's what that is promoting other people and giving other people ideas and working with other people. And so, I'm here to really put other people on the pedestal and really trying to get the community going in a good way.
Well, another person you should definitely add is a little Squiggy character. I think he definitely is one of the more deserving devs in the space, with all of the amazing stuff that he's built, from Galena's to with Swarms and everything that they've done. I see that Galena's account is in here listening, so he's probably sitting there like, "Oh no, I don't want one of me."
Oh, believe it or not, the first one that we released was Carl Squeege. Yep. So it's actually, if you go back in the timeline, that's the first one that we put out. We gave him a little Swarms logo on his chest too. So, and that's the other thing. We'll be adding in those little touches for the projects that these people represent. So
it's definitely going to be something different that people haven't seen before, and it's going to be one of the first kind of projects that you guys are linking kind of multiple platforms together between Amir's platform with Kadena AI and Swarms with the DAO. Now, have there been in any talks of possibly marketplace listings? Are people going to be able to, who mint these NFTs, since it's going to be such a small collection of only 50, are you guys in talks to have them added to a marketplace in case people want to get out? And if they do, is that even an option? Can people sell their NFT, get out of the DAO, and whoever buys the NFT off of the marketplace gets their spot kind of in the DAO and has a say?
Yeah, so that definitely will be an option for a marketplace. I can't really, I don't know if I'm at liberty to discuss at this time, because I don't know how much of that information is out there. And I don't know if the particular developer is okay with me mentioning it at this time. But yeah, the idea is that it will be able to be bought and sold on an open market. Of course, one of the restraints, I think, of this particular idea is that, if there is an unfavorable community member, right? We don't want them to be stuck in the DAO just because, they've paid to be there. Like if it's bad enough, right? Maybe they need to go. So, there'll be other options. You can vote people out of a DAO, right? So when you do that, of course, I think that NFT will find a spot in the marketplace, right? Who wants to have a NFT for a token gated DAO that they've gotten kicked out of, or maybe somebody really wants to be in Swarms and they proposition another member for a purchase into the DAO. That's fine too, and that's the other thing about purchasing and trading Guardians is there will be a royalty that will also go back into the vault to help fund the business.
Now, since you're only going to be rolling out a few at the time and things like that, what about if, for example, one person was to be buying up the majority of these things? Do you have any kind of fail safes? Like, because you wouldn't, the whole idea of having a DAO is trying to have as many different users connected to the DAO, so you can get a nice broad range of opinions and votes and stuff like that. Have you guys thought of any ways of possibly making it so that some big Kadena whale or something doesn't just scoop them all up, and then next thing you know, you have one person pretty much doing all the voting?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's ways of making that happen. Unfortunately, I'm not on the development side, but I have spoken to Amir and Carl about that sort of thing. Because we're in the business of creating DAOs, right, and supporting DAOs. So there will be a mechanism to prevent that from happening. I just can't give you the details on what that would look like. What I can tell you is I do think that the auction style voting old school will help with that a little bit. Because if you have multiple people, you've only got 5, right? And if the demand is decent, and you've only got 5 NFTs a week that people are bidding on, it's possible that a whale could come in and overbid everybody else and put everybody out of the market. But I think that because of the time dilation, you got 50, you're doing 5 a week, and I think that you're going to have a pretty diverse group there. And but just in case, we probably will have something in place for that. Yes.
Now, when it comes to the NFTs and the DAOs, and you keep mentioning how it's like a token-based kind of thing, will the NFTs themselves be the voting power, or is there going to be a kind of token along with the NFTs that'll be used for voting? Can you maybe go in a little more detail on how that's going to work?
Sure. So honestly, that's really up to the DAO. The way that it's going to be set up initially is going to be a 1-to-1 vote. But at any time, if the DAO decides that they want to go to some sort of a weighted system or change things, I think that's perfectly okay. But in the beginning, I think you give everybody an equal voice and a equal skin in the game, and And, we can, and that's another thing you were talking about. What if somebody purchases, 3 or 4, you can also build into the charter of the DAO that, somebody that owns multiple NFTs does not get, a weighted vote based on how many NFTs they own. But, ultimately, all of this information, as far as how it will be operated, will be released, before the first NFT hits the market, which, as far as I know, will be when V2 comes out.
So hopefully Kadena can get V2 out sooner or later so that people can get their hands on these NFTs, because they're very awesome. You guys have put a lot of work into it, and it's obvious that you have a very good plan set up for what you want this to be and how it's going to operate. And like you said, with being a DAO, really it really will be up to the community and the people who get involved on which way the project goes and how the project goes, which is something that a lot of people probably aren't used to in the NFT space, because unless you've been in the NFT space for a long time across other different platforms, probably a lot of people don't have too much experience with DAOs and voting and putting up proposals and things like that, because people, that is one good thing about crypto, is that that's what crypto is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be taking the control back into the people's hands, into the community's hands. And these DAOs are what's going to really make that possible and make it kind of a more even playing field, so that you don't have just 1 or 2 people making decisions for the masses. You have the masses making the decisions for the people running the project, which is really something special. And I think is going to be kind of the next big iteration alongside with NFTs in the next big run for crypto. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of I get kind of starry-eyed when I talk about DAOs, because one of the things that really led me into crypto in general is just, the amount of possibilities for tokenomic systems and kind of these different playgrounds of ways that monetary systems can work, right? Something obviously great came out of that, and that was Bitcoin, and then of course Kadena. But I feel like we are creating the environment for the same thing to happen with business models. And, everybody's used to this top-down corporate type structure that exists everywhere in the world. And a DAO is a lot different. And I think it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around what it does. And I think what it does is when you work somewhere, if you're an actual part of that company, I think that there's something more in it for you, right? It kind of speaks to your soul, and especially if it's something that you like to do. So working with other people and feeling equal to them, and just a collaboration of ideas, and everybody votes and just kind of goes along with whatever everybody decides. It's been a really friendly environment. And, I think that this model can work outside of crypto. And I think that's kind of the next evolution is not just crypto, but I think that DAOs can really go mainstream, kind of like employee-owned companies. You see those popping up here and there, but I think that this model can work in a lot of different places, and I'm hoping that everybody can see the benefits of swarms and join the Guardians and use swarms, and hopefully we get a lot of developers. Hopefully we get some more artists. We're really looking to get, and if everybody has a talent, so maybe you're not a developer or a marketer. Maybe there's something else that you're great at. And that's the wonderful thing about DAOs, is it doesn't mold everybody into something. You kind of get to work off of everybody's strengths, which makes for a really unique company.
Yeah, everyone has something that they're good at and something to bring to the table. And that's really going to be what a DAO focuses on, is just bringing people's, and everyone will have their idea of like where a project should go. And I think that's everyone sees that, especially in Kadena. You have, groups that think that the team should go this way and the team should do that, and the community should be doing this, or the community should be doing that, or they're not doing enough of this, or they're not doing enough of that. And it kind of gets to the point where you need some kind of structure to point the ship in a certain direction. And it seems like the DAO is going to be the perfect way to do that, to get people to have their say, but also not just, like I said, not just one captain of the ship, whereas the whole crew of the ship is the driving force behind it. So definitely something that's going to be the next iteration. And like you said, it could even be brought into a corporate world, but it's going to be, I think we're a little bit a ways from that, seeing, big corporations and things like that kind of taking this stance, because doing that gives up the power of the few and giving it to the many. And those few really have a hard time once like they say, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, it's that's kind of a saying that needs to be broken, and DAOs can be that way to break that down and do what Bitcoin and what crypto set out to do from the very beginning and from the original Bitcoin white paper of decentralizing things, putting the say back into the hands of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it does have that challenge, and I don't see that on any type of short timeline. And it's the same challenge that Bitcoin has and that Kadena has is trying. They're not going to willfully give up that power structure. But I also like what you said about steering the ship, because sometimes the way I envision it is, pirates, right? The captain of the ship wasn't necessarily in charge of. There could always be a mutiny, and the captain can change. But you can set up a DAO however you want. It's just a playground of different governance structures, and I really think that we got something special here with Guardians, and what we're going to try to do with the community and the people that want to join and contribute. And I definitely encourage people that are in the community, that are kind of looking around trying to figure out, what can I do? This might be a good fit for you.
Well, it looks like we were able to get your artist to join us. Welcome to the conversation. I don't know what all you may have missed or what you may have heard, but maybe if you'd like to give yourself a little introduction and a little bit of history about yourself, we would definitely love to learn more.
Hello, can you
hear us, Scott?
Yay!
Wow.
Yay, we can hear you.
I must say I've been frantically trying to connect with you guys. I am very, very sorry to be late to the party. We had a very vigorous tropical storm, and it happened in such a moment of synchronous timing that it happened right before this meeting. I'm so very sorry I wasn't able to speak to you guys before. So, but you guys can hear me, correct?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So a little bit about my background. I am an artist for all of my life. The thing that I'm most known for is having won more awards than any human being in history in the realm of competitive body painting. We won in North America, in Europe, and in Asia. There are 5 world awards. I'm the only person in history to win all 5 of them. We also established the largest body painting competition event in the Western Hemisphere, and we had about 21 countries participate in that at the peak. And I've also spent about 30 years doing advertising, commercial art, publishing, all kinds of apparel and online work and different kinds of things. And I'm very, very happy about the possibility of working with the Kadena platform and creating art, and creating art that has the capacity to link in with this ecosystem. I think it's grand. I'm super excited about this.
Now, we talked a little bit about how you're creating these amazing superhero. I kind of said they were like Iron Man kind of esque looking superheroes with like a cyborg kind of person view, but more with very humanistic traits. Would you maybe go over a little bit on your creation process of how you're creating this amazing art?
Okay, so one of the things about them is they actually have a vintage kind of 1960s stranger than fiction kind of look to them. I wanted them to be both futuristic but seen through the lens of a kind of 1965 or even earlier 1960 kind of lens about what the future looked like at an earlier time, to give it a little bit of a kitschy feel. And they have these vaporous clouds, and they have these a lot of shiny metal, and sometimes they even reflect the personalities of the developers of the Kadena ecosystem.
Yeah, they kind of, when you said they're kind of like a 60s kind of feel, kind of thought the first thing that popped into my head is if you've ever seen WandaVision, kind of that kind of feel, based in like an earlier time, but with a futuristic feeling at the same time. And yeah, they're very special and very unique, and I've just loved every single one that I've seen so far. And we were talking earlier about inspiration for other artists or inspiration for other ones to be generated and people they can be generated by. So we're just super excited to see what kind of art you're going to keep coming up with, because if these first few are just kind of an example of what you're doing, I'm sure the other 45 are going to be just amazing.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to doing them. They're a lot of fun, and also using the various logos, the Kadena logo in particular, and being able to have that being a signifying mark on there and giving that glow and that sheen, and also doing things that reflect the personalities. That is a whole lot of fun too. So this is a new platform. I'm sure that this is going to be something that is just going to expand and expand and expand some more. I'm very glad to be working with all of you guys at this stage. This is going to be fantastic. I think we're in for quite a ride.
Now, we were talking earlier as well about your body painting experience and the possibility of bringing body painting art to Kadena. Would that be something that you'd be very interested in, of possibly, like, I don't know if you sell prints or something of the, like if you do pictures of yourself in your body painting and things like that, of possibly bringing that to the NFT space as well?
That is also very exciting, and you have just hit on something that is near and dear to my heart. I have a body of work that I have been working on for 25 years, and the very best work I have done in my lifetime, I have been holding off for something special. And it is not something that I would just put on any venue or any platform, but I believe that the Kadena NFT platform is the correct opportunity at the correct time at this very early stage. And I'm very excited to bring the very best work that I've ever done in my lifetime to this platform. And the other thing about the community ties that we've been able to gather through doing such a large event is that we are connected with other artists all around the world, the very best of the best from about 5 different continents. We could easily marshal and bring to the Kadena platform.
Yeah, I've always said that NFTs are the perfect place for artists to be able to distribute their art, mostly because of, like, especially with Kadena, with their royalties all secured and set up perfectly on their Marmalade platform, is it's the kind of the whole idea of, you're selling your pieces of art, and once it's sold, that's it. You never see any kind of revenues from secondary sales or anything like that. But with NFTs, that's a great way to continuously support these artists and having these royalties in place, so that, and instead of selling, a bunch of just getting a whole bunch of prints made up and just selling them like prints. You can literally sell one-of-one pieces that live eternally on a blockchain, and every time someone it trades hands, you still get a portion of those profits and royalties. So it's definitely, I've always said that this is the perfect space for artists to bring their work, and hopefully a lot of them listening bring it to Kadena like it seems like you're planning to do.
Yes, it's very exciting. One of the things also that I think that is possible with the Kadena platform that may not be possible on other smart contract platforms is the idea of having more than one recipient of a royalty split. For instance, oftentimes there are multiple parties that are involved in the creation of a particular piece of art.
Oh, did we lose you?
Hopefully not. Still says speaker.
Yeah. I'm glad he showed up, though. I didn't want to look like he was my imaginary friend artist.
I
you
can
there?
hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now.
There we go.
Okay. So oftentimes there are multiple parties involved in the creation of a particular piece. And with the ordinary smart contract that exists at the present time, there can only believe that there are a multi-party split with multi-levels of participation. For instance, different percentages can go to different places. A nonprofit foundation might be one of the recipients. So there are options, and that makes this very, very attractive and very useful.
Yes, very well said. That's definitely one of the great aspects of NFTs, royalties, and specifically those on Kadena, is that you can do a lot of good with them and spread. Yep. You must be having, those storms must be kicking up pretty good down there, because you might be still having some connection issues. I know that where you got some storms up here too. So, but yeah, no, it's great. It's great to hear though that, artists are starting to realize the potential behind NFTs and what they can do with it, and the benefits, as opposed to just, the basic Web 2 and real world experiences that they've had selling their art in the past. So this is definitely going to be the next step in the evolution of the small independent artists and things like that. And like you said, you could do a lot of good as well. You could set up a foundation, you could set up charities with wallets, so that every time one of your NFTs spreads hands, it also spreads some wealth out to other organizations, other people, other artists, and makes everyone have a little bit better standing in the space. Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, he just texted me, says that he thinks he lost us. So even though his account's up here, I don't think that he can hear us any longer.
I can hear you.
Well, at least, we can hear you. It's just going in and out.
Again, it's crazy.
Well, we were just happy that you were actually able to join us, and I'm sure this won't be the last time that we have a space. So,
a little bit of background noise there. Scott, can you mute yourself?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, like I said, it was great that at least he was able to join up and give a little bit more insight into the art and his inspirations, as well as his little bit of plans of the future and what he sees on NFTs. Now, digging a little bit more, maybe for you, Curtis. So far, you guys are pretty much just only with the Twitter page. Do you have any plans for website, Discord, any other kind of socials for things that people can look out for?
So we are definitely going to have a landing page. The landing page is, of course, going to have links to Kadena AI, and I don't know, we may or may not have some sort of plugin to buy directly from the site. We're not sure about that yet. We're going to have that classified section that we were talking about for the Guardians, on the landing page. And we'll probably, and this is kind of one of the features of Swarms, right, is because Swarms bootstraps DAOs. We'll be utilizing their Discord at least until we get all 50 members, if they'll have us. And then once that happens, it's really up to the DAO, right? So initially it'll be the web page and Swarms general chat, and from there, if they want to go off and create their own Discord, or maybe do a Telegram channel or whatever that looks like. It's really up to the DAO.
Well, like you said too, you're creating these little stories too that go along with the characters. I think a website, it would be nice if people, if you could have like, the different characters there, and like you click on a character and it brings up the little story. Because I'm sure people would love to be able to read through the stories without necessarily owning the NFT or something like that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, and it's something that is already in the works. There is a mock-up of the website that Scott's created, and Scott and I kind of go back and forth and talk about it, and we're hoping to get that out real soon. We don't like to put a date on these things. I've noticed in the Web3 world that if you put a date on something, it's like putting your girlfriend's tattoo on your arm, right? It's probably not going to work out. But we will move fast, and I think you'll be really impressed by the web work or the web design that Scott does too. He's been doing that for I don't know, his entire professional career, along with his body painting and solo art.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm very excited to see what comes out of Guardians. I'll probably be throwing my bets in on, or my bids in on one or two here, because I wouldn't mind being part of a community DAO that helps out keeping the community safe and doing proper research on projects, and just making sure that people have a chance to have a little bit more insight into things before just blindly investing in this or buying this into this project. Because that's kind of one thing that is very lacking in the space, is just people doing their own research at all. Mm-hmm. Like we did a meme contest for Koala Wallet, and a lot of the contest entries thought that it was a coin or a token. And it's like, it just shows how little people actually look into things without already acting on it. And that's just a good way to get burned. Like you said, that's like getting your girlfriend's name tattooed on your arm. It's just, you're just setting yourself up for possible failure.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be bidding on yourself, right? I think you're right. I think there's a couple people in this room right now that are fairly deserving of being memorialized on Kadena. I see some faces in here that I definitely recognize and that have been helpful, for me and the relationships and work that I've done here. And I think it's great. I think I'm really excited about this project. It's I feel like I'm involved in two of the funnest projects that are on Kadena, and the reason I say they're fun is because I'm having fun doing them, and I've met a lot of people along the way, and everybody that we've worked with, from Squeegee, Amir, Cam. These people are just awesome, and everybody I've met from all the other projects. I see, Kevin Clark down there. I mean, there's a lot of good people in this community, and we just want them to start working together. There are some, I won't name names, but there are some chats and some websites where there are some pretty nasty things said sometimes, and I'm like, why don't you spend your energy trying to come up with solutions instead of problems, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to come up with solutions. We're trying to further the cause and create some adoption on Kadena. And, this has to be a welcoming place to come, and people have to have the tools, and we have to have the right attitude for them to come here.
Yeah, I agree there. There's definitely some very dark people in the Kadena space that almost just seem like they're just sticking around to try to watch things burn. And it's, if they'd spend half of the time that they spent, shit talking and spreading FUD and all that kind of stuff on actually building a project or being part of the actual community, we'd be a lot better off. We'd see a lot more happening. We'd see a lot more building happening. But, seems like some people just have way too much time on their hands and would rather just do negative things as opposed to positive things. But once things start really taking off, and the price of everything starts going up and the market starts recovering, I'm sure they'll turn right back around and be all like, oh, we loved Kadena this whole time, and it's like, no, you didn't. But
Yeah. You're right.
It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, and every community has those people, and either they stick around and see the errors of their ways, or they just move on to another community until they find something wrong with that, and then just keep repeating that cycle. So, it's not much you can really do about it. You can just keep positive and keep building amazing things, which definitely seems like you guys are all over, between swarms, guardians, all the great things that you guys have been working on. So yeah, it's been very great learning more about guardians. I don't know if there's anything that we didn't cover that you maybe wanted to go over.
No, I think we pretty much hit on all the points that we definitely want to make public right now. But there will always be more. It's it's a drip, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, make sure everyone here gives Guardians of Kadena a follow. Also follow Living Brush here. He's an amazing artist. Lots of really cool things on his profile as well. Lots of amazing art. And hopefully, once things get going further, and hopefully V2 rolls out very soon, people will be able to get their hands on these absolutely amazing NFTs. And once that happens, make sure to hit us up so that we can do another one of these AMAs and spread the word even farther, and hopefully get some really good people involved in this DAO and get them, start being guardians of the Kadena ecosystem. So thank you very much, both of you guys, for joining. I was happy that Scott was able to find his way in here, and it's always great talking with you, Curtis.
Yeah, we, as always, we appreciate it, and hope to do a couple of more of these as we get a little closer to the launch date. And definitely thank everybody that decided to join and listen to us talk about our project. And hopefully, you guys will all be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Like I said, follow Guardians of Kadena, get involved, and hopefully very soon you guys will be able to be part of an amazing DAO and help making sure to protect the Kadena ecosystem. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming out and listening to our AMA today, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you very much, and take care.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.